Hello and welcome to the 10 Million in 10 Years podcast. I'm David, your host, and I've got Korey Gibson with me today. Welcome along.
Kia ora. Kia ora. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
No worries.
First ever podcast.
It is my first ever podcast, yeah.
Amazing.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, wicked.
And I'm with the man who's done over 150 episodes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
happy for the experience.
It's flown by. I guess when you're doing something that you, like/love doing, it flies by, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Like anything, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we meet? We met through the loft, didn't we?
We met through the loft.
Yeah.
Beautiful space that you have here. And on monthly occasions, I come in and have been coming in and bring a group of people in who want to learn how to sell.
Amazing.
And consider myself to be still pretty good at that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a good time and hopefully they get some takeaways and go and make some money.
Yeah, nice. What's the average personality that comes in? Sorry, role, like, are they self-employed or are they sales?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're self-employed. I've had anything from builders to landscapers to gym owners or government agencies come in. Yeah, it's a big coverage of different types of persons and personalities. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Do you ever find yourself in a situation as a customer and you just wish that someone could sell you something?
Every day.
All the time, right?
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, happened to me 48 hours ago at Mitre 10.
Oh, really?
You're sitting there just waiting for it to happen. And it's funny when I have people come in and do these sales seminars with me, often they're people that I've walked into their businesses and they will say things like, you must have came in and thought we were so shit. And I said, yeah, I thought there's room for improvement. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's how you learn, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's interesting though, isn't it? I guess it's a lot easier to criticize others, as well, isn't it? It's easier to be critical. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all comes from me. It comes from a place of, I just want them to do better.
Nice.
And a lot of these guys that come and have awesome products or awesome services.
Yeah.
And the world needs more of them.
Totally.
But unfortunately, if you don't get processes and things like that right, there'll only ever be one or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's where it comes from for me.
A massive thank you to Casbolt's Motorcycles here at 6 Gaston Street for sponsoring the episode of the 10 Million in 10 Years podcast, authorised dealer of Honda and Ducati motorcycles.
Man, that's so good. I think there's such an opportunity for that, both in like the people that I come across as a customer, but colleagues. Everyone can sharpen that sword, right?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Sales is just communication. Yeah.
Totally.
And we've all sold.
Yeah.
We wake up in the morning, we brush our teeth. You do that to influence people. You do that to influence situations, or else we just walk around manky all day.
Totally.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's quite funny. People say, I've never sold before. Well, you have. You ever been to a bar and asked a girl out, asked her for a dance before? Mate, it's all sales.
Yeah. Parenting,
Yeah.
a lot of sales involved there.
There is.
Right?
As long as you're not bribing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no bribery?
Definitely none.
No.
Mum and Dad know best for a period of time. And then I think good parents are always open to learning. I actually said to Tessa last night, I said, I can't wait for my kids to bring home new information for me and for me to go, tell me a bit more about that. Because you do get, I don't want this to come across not humble at all, but you do, sometimes you can become tired of coaching all the time. And so I find myself on podcasts a lot. Some of them I listen to multiple times because I actually don't retain information that well. But I can't wait for my kids to come home and bring me new information and teach me. I'm always open to learning and having my opinions changed.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay.
Well,
ko wai tēnei e tuake nei, e noho ana nei, kei mua i a koe i tēnei rangi. No Ngāti Huia, no Ngāti Tama, no Kaitahu anō hoki tēnei. He uri o te rangatira kananama te kapukai o tū. Tipu ake au I Taranaki, ki taku maunga a Taranaki. Noho nei mātou I Kaikoura I ngā wikene, engari ki o tautahi nei mō ngā rangi o te wiki. Ko Korey Gibson tēnei. Toko toru ngā tamariki, me taku hoa pūmau ko Tessa Murray no Taranaki anō hoki ia. So I'm Korey Gibson. I come from Ngāti Huia, Ngāti Tama and Ngaitahu. I grew up next to my maunga, Taranaki, in Taranaki. I have 3 beautiful children. And my darling is Tessa, who we've been engaged for a long time. I know, honey, but don't worry, the day's coming. The day's coming. On our weekends, we spend sort of 8 out of 10 weekends in Kaikoura. Got a few properties up there. And in the weekdays, we come back here to Ōtautahi to fulfill our business, I suppose, goals and things like that, and bring our babies to Kura Kaupapa Māori, full immersion Māori schools.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, that's us.
I love that.
Before we get into the episode, I just want to say a big thank you to Tom Hardy for supporting this episode.
Thanks, Dave. I absolutely love what you're doing, and thank you for having me be a part of it.
Tell us a bit about this new sign.
Mate, it's all about the people. I've loved making the move and getting great results for our clients.
Wicked. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So rugby league was my thing growing up.
Yep.
That was my all and everything. And played that for many, many years before heading up to Auckland with the Warriors as a sort of 17, 18-year-old. And then rugby league took me to England before heading to Australia and playing some Queensland Cup and things like that there. And retired at the ripe old age of 22 and started boxing and doing other things. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then you got into the gym world, is that?
I did.
The transition straight from...
I did. Well, from rugby league, the rugby league contracts weren't paying enough over there, and so I started washing cars was my thing, detailing cars. And after 18 months of that, I sort of thought I should do something else. And fitness was always my thing. I was always into my fitness, winning loads of tests and things like that. And I looked in the paper in Australia. There was a gym job for a membership consultant. I went and interviewed. I lied to the interviewer and said I'd been selling cars. And
selling, cleaning.
Same thing. And what do you know? All these years later, I've owned multiple gyms, both here and in Australia, and it's worked out well. Yeah.
Yeah. And how long have you been out of that world for, the gym ownership?
Well, look, I'm not out of it, so to speak. I'm actually just about to get right back into it. But I had a number of gyms. Sort of the biggest and most well-known chain is Snap Fitness, of which we had 57 here in New Zealand before we sold them in 2018. Other things have been My First Gym, kids gyms, 14 or 15 of those in Aussie. Boot Camps Australia in the early 2000s. I had those over there. I started with one camp and built that up to 51 before selling that in 2010. And I came home and had Quest Health Clubs in Ferrymead, and we've had some things like Cadence. But one of the real exciting things at the moment is Fit Futures Academy, which is our personal training school. It was born out of frustration at the quality of trainers that were coming through. And it wasn't necessarily the trainers' fault, but I thought they were lacking the skills they needed to create successful businesses, which was sales, communication, confidence, all those types of things. And so we've just gone into Australia early this year. We've now got an office in the UK, and we're looking at license agreements for America, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia now as well. So it's pretty exciting with Fit Futures.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exceptional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's one thing to know technically how to train someone, but to communicate that and to, I guess, sell to begin with.
Mate, that's right.
It all starts with that, doesn't it?
Well, clients don't walk in wanting to know where the insertion point of a hamstring is. What they want is they want results. They want some, I suppose, level of entertainment to keep them motivated. And, they want results. Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I saw a clip, perhaps it was on one of your channels, and you're talking about that. You were talking about
Probably.
Entertainment. Yeah, it resonated with me.
Yeah.
It was essentially you got to give some energy, entertainment, humour,
that's
something.
It. If you're not entertaining, no one's showing up next week.
No.
It's only the dedicated who don't really care about entertainment, who may be a little bit introverted in terms of their personality. They don't care about that. Most people want some form of entertainment. I mean, there's a lot going on in people's lives, and for that 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, you can relieve them from those everyday experiences. I think it's really, really important. Yeah. Yeah,
I guess it's quasi fitness, quasi counselling.
Yeah,
mate,
it is.
A bit of both, right?
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be 90% counselling sometimes, but hey, that also keeps it interesting for the trainer.
Yeah,
They've just got to make sure that they stay on track with, measuring and testing. And if you're testing clients properly and you're testing them frequently enough, same test, same time of day, all that sort of stuff, and they start to see measurable results, that can become part of their DNA really, really quickly.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I like it. So that's a bit going on then. So if you've got different countries, expansion, licensing.
Yeah. No, it's good. Luckily, I've got a great business partner in Jason Lawrence, who resides in Sydney. He looks after our Australian office, and has also spent 9.5 years playing Super League in England, so has loads of connections over there. So at the moment, I'm looking after the office here in Christchurch and spend a couple of days in there with the team each week. But they're more than capable of looking after themselves, or else we wouldn't be where we are now. And it's been a really, really hard road. I think one of the biggest learnings I've taken from the hard road with Fit Futures and a couple of other entities in the past would be take your time in putting other people in charge of your own businesses. Yeah, and that's my own fault that I probably did too fast on a number of occasions.
Right. Yeah. I guess having that trust in the right person.
Yeah. And I always had trust. I probably trust a little bit too quick, but hey, that's my nature, and I like to look at the good in people before anything else. I think you've just they've got to want it as bad as you want it for them. Yeah. Alignment, I suppose, comes to mind, right? Yeah. Right person, right place. That's right.
Right situation.
That's right.
Yeah.
And, timing's critical as well for businesses. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So 57 Snap Fitnesses, that's quite a handful.
Yeah. So we had 14 of them, which we kept as corporate clubs for ourselves, and the rest of them were our franchisees.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we were really, really lucky to attract good franchisees. We never had any problems, but I think also part of that was the fact that we focused a lot on continually educating both our teams corporately and the franchisees and their teams as well. Really, really, really big part of it.
Yeah.
Of the success.
And did they get acquired by one entity or
Lift Brands, who own Steel Fitness, Yoga Fit, Snap Fitness, 9 Round Fitness from America, they actually came and brought it all back from us, which made it easy.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a chapter. What a journey.
Yeah, it was. It was loads of fun.
Yeah.
It was loads of fun. But before that, with Quest, we were going to have a chain of those here in NZ, but we had a beautiful gym at Ferrymead here in Christchurch, 3,000 members, 40 staff, and it was just starting to hit some really good straps. And the earthquake took it. And so luckily, not too long before that, we'd gone to America and got the rights for Snap Fitness and had a couple of those open already. So we simply used the insurance money. We'd spent sort of $4 million building that gym in Ferrymead, so we used that money to roll out Snap Fitness. And the timing was perfect for 24-hour clubs then.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Is Quest a US brand?
No, that was our own brand.
Oh, it was your own brand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, people often get it mixed up with the motels and that here in New Zealand, but it was our own brand.
Right, yeah.
It was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Wow. What was the angle? Was it more health club?
Yeah, it was a big health club,
yeah.
Steam rooms, saunas, storm showers and women's only areas, 24/7 parts, and it was a beautiful gym.
Yeah, right.
It was a beautiful gym.
Nice.
And I think the thing I miss most about that, going from big box gyms and before that Boot Camps Australia to 24-hour gyms, is in the 24-hour gyms skeletal in terms of the amount of staff, and so you miss that energy from different people. And having 40 staff in one gym was really powerful. It was really cool.
Right. Yeah. Was it a mix of PT, support staff?
PT,
admin,
support, reception,
sales.
child minding.
Right, yeah.
Group fitness.
Yeah.
They're always full of energy.
Yeah.
Even, our cleaners, we'd all, have Christmas parties and that together.
Yeah, right.
Real social. But we stayed on point with I think one of the big things that I'm going off a little bit off track here, mate, but team meetings and upskilling every member of your staff. With team meetings, companies tend to focus a lot on what's not being done. This was done too late. How come that wasn't done? Instead of, a period of your meeting is set up for that. The rest should be, upskilling each other.
Totally. Yeah, just a little bit better every day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that mindset, that philosophy of just stacking.
Yeah.
If you do a little bit each day, it just
that's it.
Gradually
and
gets
it doesn't
better.
have to be all on you as a business owner as well.
No.
You give people different topics to present on the following week and open up the floor for questions. And as you learn most when you're teaching. So
totally. Yeah.
But you've got to be given that opportunity.
Very true. Yeah, absolutely. And so the new venture, Not Fit Futures, the other one, you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So, we've got a couple of different things going on. One, we've got some eco-tourism things going on in Kaikoura, which is really, really exciting. Got some eco cabins happening up there with some hunting and some diving and different things on the beach and in the bush, which is just fantastic, which I love doing. I love getting out on the weekends with my dogs and chasing pigs. But then we've also just, birthed, I suppose you could say, another cope-up or a concept, which is elite training for children from the ages of 6 years old to 17. It's in its infancy at the moment, but it won't be too long before we start testing different things. We envisage that, sort of first week of December, we'll have our first kids on board. And the concept was brought to me by a TV producer who has done a number of different TV shows with us over the past. And he asked if I would be interested in creating an elite academy for rugby players between the ages of 11 and 12, so intermediate type age before they get to high school. And I said no, it doesn't interest me at all. One sport, 11 and 12-year-olds. But if we are focusing on creating generations of New Zealand's Olympic gold medalists, then I'm interested. I like diversifying,
Not so narrow.
Nah. And I would like to take them from 6 years old and have them to when they leave at 17, and then to keep me accountable and to make sure that I'm getting them results, I'd also like to be their player manager once they sign professional contracts. So, that's sort of where that's at the moment. It's got a stage name at the moment of Elevate, but that could change. So we'll start testing things. So these kids will come in, they'll have their nutrition, they'll have days of the week where they come and do classes with us, they'll have performance psychology meetings once a month as well, they'll have specific measuring taken. The 6 to 10-year-olds not so much, but it's all about creating elite households as well, rather than just elite children. What we don't want are kids that are having loads of great habits installed into them, going home to households where those habits are few and far between. So for us, it's about education amongst their whole family. So hopefully that should spread and create, I don't want to say really elite, but sort of wealthier in all of the different aspects that wealth is, communities.
How do you do that? How do you roll that out? Especially it's one thing to work with the child, but to expand that to the larger household, that's sort of the trickier part, I suppose.
Well,
or is it the easier bit?
It's actually not that tricky. So you do it by having educational or information evenings, where if you can picture a group of young athletes sort of sitting in a room listening to a guest speaker on nutrition. It might be a nutritionist, it may be a naturopath. The family have the ability to be there as well. The fees that are paid or funded enable the entire family to come rather than just the kid. So whilst the kid is with us 1 on 20, say for example in a strength class, their family or whoever brings them on that particular class will be in the gym exercising themselves at the same time, instead of, I spoke to you earlier a little bit about my first gym. It was about inspiring movements in kids. And what I seen a lot whilst parents were waiting for the kids were parents sitting on seats looking down at their phones, and they weren't even engaged with what their children were doing literally 5 or 10 metres away from them.
Yeah, it's an opportunity, right?
It is.
Yeah.
We can all stare and look at our phones whenever we want.
Yeah.
But whilst you're in an environment where it is, I suppose, elevating things like health, fitness, wealth, take part.
Totally. What sports is it aimed toward, or is it the full spectrum?
Yeah, they're full spectrum. We're going to take anyone. I am lucky enough to have a group of tutors at Fit Futures who all hold degrees of different strength and exercise and sports science and things like that. So I hope to lean on their expertise when it comes to programming, but we'll also use technology to our advantage as well. And then I have another friend of mine, Whai Smith. He'd be a good guy for you to get in for a podcast, actually. He's just doing his PhD at the moment on strength and conditioning for basketball players. So I would love to have him involved as well. We've spoken about it already, and he's really interested. So we'll see where it all goes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So potentially something rolled out by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm known as the manual man, which means systems, processes. A goes to B, B goes to C. That's what I'm creating at the moment when I'm sitting at home.
Yeah.
In front of the computer.
Yeah. And then it's a case of juggling that. The other ventures, the Kaikoura.
Kaikoura, Kiwi Eco Escapes. That's yeah, it's something we just absolutely love it. We love having people there. It's quite full during summer. I love taking people to the bush and absolutely disappearing and going, you can only see 5% from the road type thing.
Yeah, cool.
It's not until they get in there and go, holy smoke, where am I?
Yes, yeah.
I just love the look on their faces. I love showing them how to catch their own food, teaching kids where food actually comes from.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't come wrapped in supermarket plastic.
No.
And then not only catching the animals, but respecting the animals, thanking the different gods. It may be the god of the wind or the god of the forest, Tāne Mahuta, maybe Iukareiti, Jesus Christ, ki a koe to you. But thanking them for allowing us to do it, and thanking them for allowing us to provide, for people that we care about, and for people who don't have access maybe to enough food or to organic meat. Keyword there being organic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so sad that we have to question whether something's organic or not now.
Yeah. There's something about the bush. I grew up on the West Coast.
Right.
And so I grew up running around the bush, and it's just a special feeling, isn't it?
You grew up on the wild West Coast.
Indeed. Yeah. And so
fair few deer over there.
Yeah. It just brings back a lot of memories, a lot of good memories of exploring and just as you say, like what you can see from the road is a fraction of what's there.
Yeah.
So
it's unbelievable. In Kaikoura, quite often you see tourists pulled over on the side of the road taking pictures of what they can see, and you drive past with humility going, man, if only they knew. Yeah. Sort of 13 kilometres or 10 kilometres that way, and it's just everywhere, and you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we're pretty lucky in New Zealand with the bush and the walks that we've got.
We are. And so, a lot of the things that I like to do is, we bring up our kids a specific way in relation to knowing, which wind does what, and how the seasons change, and I think we don't have enough exposure of that in mainstream education, and therefore if our kids can only see dolphins or weta or tāmure in books, they're never really going to have that actual proper hands-on love for the environment, because it's actually not tangible, it's not real to them. So if we can continue to expose them to real things, then they'll have it. I
guess it's a bit like that theory of like learning how to swim by reading a book. Yeah, it's quite tough.
It is, definitely is.
Yeah, so to experience and to have that in real life, totally different.
Quite often we might have, sort of town kids come over, and you might shoot a couple of rabbits, and they're heartbroken. But if they knew what they actually, the destruction they caused, and it's the same thing with deer. It's the same thing with pigs. It's all this. You have to keep them in check, and we all know what possums do and goats do. And when you're in the bush and you see a beautiful sort of 40, 50-year-old Korey tree, and it's been ring-barked by goats, and now it's got no chance. It's going to die. It's really sad to see. Yeah,
they're all introduced relatively recently, aren't they? A lot of these animals,
So we should be teaching kids about how to catch their own and grow their own food. Yeah,
that's cool. Is there room to expand that offering that you've got there in terms of size or scale?
Well, I think so. It can be difficult with things like health and safety, but I have taken large numbers of groups of school kids into the bush, namely older type kids. Although I've been taking my babies since they were sort of 15 months old on my back and all the rest of it. The biggest group I've taken in was 50 kids, and we taught them how to build a shelter and caught a pig in the morning and dig their own toilets. The boys dig the toilets for the girls, and cool. Those different things, and even little things like direction. Where's east? Right. If you were lost, how would you get out of here? What would be the first thing that you'd think of? Those types of things. And I remember standing there on one school trip, and I purposely stood with my back to the east coast. You could see the ocean, and I asked the kids, "What direction is that?" And there was a north run out there. There was a south, and I was just like, "Wow, yeah."
Was there a west?
The west was behind them, but it was just amazing that they could see the ocean. Yeah, they all lived on the east coast.
Right.
It's just so much detachment from Te Taiao, the natural world.
Couldn't compute that. Yeah, right. Interesting.
It is. Yeah.
And how long have you been running the Aura Ring for?
5.5 years, it told me 2 days ago.
Wow.
5.5 years, but this is generation 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah, generation 2 was probably, I don't know, maybe 4 years of that 5.5.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You enjoying yours?
I do enjoy it. I enjoy it, I think. The reason I say I think is that sometimes, you might wake up and you feel like you've had a good sleep.
I know.
And then you look at it and it's like, I feel underwhelmed.
I know.
I thought it was better than that.
I know. And then sometimes you wake up tired and you've had a great sleep.
I know.
And then it's like, I've overslept. Yeah.
What's that called? The confirmation bias or the opposite of that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's it's frustrating sometimes. I get it. Totally get it.
It's quite funny though. Do you have anyone on your circles? The social component?
No.
I've got a few friends that have got them, and so you can add people into the thing, and so you see limited data, but you can see like sleep and readiness score.
Oh, I don't
so
want to see my sleep.
It's quite funny though, because like a few guys at the gym have got them, and so be like, Johnny, like, man, you just dialed in this week, It's quite fun.
Is that Johnny
Smith?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mate, he's quite often got readiness scores in the 90s.
Yeah, technology, eh? It's good when it's good, but
I know
it's just not flawless, right? I saw
no,
this
it's definitely not.
Post recently about like videographers and how like the old way of doing it, there'd be like a specific sound person, a lighting person, camera guy, maybe a direct, like all these different roles. Whereas now, like a videographer is like, you just got a guy with a camera, does it all, right?
That's it.
Yeah, and it's sort of changed quite a lot.
Yeah, like technology it's just changing the world. Sometimes I think it's changing it too fast. Sometimes I think there's enough. That's enough. I had a phone conversation yesterday. One of my best mates, Hayden Drever's his name. He is a professional hunter. So he has clients come over from sort of March through to the end of July, mainly from America. And he hunts every day with them, up in the mountains in Aoraki and Kaikoura, pigs, deer, goats, giant sheep, everything.
Wicked.
And I said to him yesterday, brother, I think it's time for me to not bash my body up so much in the bush and maybe shoot a few deer, leave the dogs at home sometimes. And I said, what do you think I should get for binoculars? Should I get these thermal ones with range finders? Should I get? And he goes, you hate technology.
Yeah.
You will not use them. No, we'll get you this pair from America. It costs you a third of the price. That's all you'll ever need. Yeah.
Just don't be fancy.
For me.
Yeah.
He actually said, you struggle to hold a pair of binos up to your head for 30 seconds. And it's true. I just like going.
Yeah.
I reckon they'll be living over there. So off we go. There's a lot of guys hunting now. They'll glass, and I really struggle with it.
Yeah, right.
Sitting still.
Yeah, I guess it's just finding the right tool for the right job, isn't it?
Exactly.
For the right person.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. He actually said that. He said the reason I've got $6,000 US binoculars is because that's what I have to use for work. You won't use that. You don't have to.
You're good. You're good with the normal ones.
Except the dogs.
Yeah.
The dogs.
Yeah. Same with podcasting, right? A lot of people, either come on as a guest or just have a yarn, and they're like, I'd love to get a podcast going. Like, how do I do it? I'm like, look, there's a lot of different ways you can get it going. Yeah. And there's a lot of ways you can make it harder on yourself and complicate it, but here's what I've found to be the easiest setup.
Yeah, cool.
And it's a couple $100. It's not thousands.
Fair dinkum.
Yeah, it's relatively easy.
Wow.
So
you're doing a pretty good job, mate. 150 sessions, did you?
Well, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm just keeping on going, one episode at a time.
Yeah, good on you.
Having some interesting chats. It's been cool to meet some new people and learn a few new stories.
And how's your $10 million in 10 years going?
Good question. Yeah. So coming up to the 2nd year mark.
Awesome.
I'm a lot further along than when I started.
Great.
And I feel like I'm solidifying the plan to get there, which is essentially to build my business to the stage where it can be sold, or a part of it can be sold for a $10 million cash out.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I've come a long way in especially the last, say, 12-ish months. Yeah. I feel like there's been some progress made.
Good on you.
So still don't know exactly, but that's to be expected. I think the first part is establishing the goal and then working backwards. Yeah. And
mate, sometimes you don't know.
No.
You don't have to know.
No.
I think what's important is you focus on the outcome. So remain focused, outcome focused. You don't always have to know every single intricate part of what's going to be in front of you. And quite often I'll get people, I've got another program that I do, it's a peak performance retreat in Kaikoura where people come to me for 3 days. I teach them everything from nutrition, water quality, what should be in water, how to sleep, train, resilience. I have fantastic people like Laura Warren come up from Queenstown, who's Wim Hof trained, cold exposure, nutritionist, breathwork. Renzi Hannum, who's a performance psychologist. Hemi Hoskins, who speaks about the power of knowing who you are and those different things. Scott Hansen, now the assistant All Black coach, comes and speaks on things like the power and positive self-talk. And it's really, really cool.
Nice.
But one of the things I get them to do is lay on their back and close their eyes. And I won't go into the whole thing, but basically it's a dark night. They jump in their car, they drive home, they put their headlights on, and they can only see sort of 100 metres in front of them. They still know they're going to get home, but they can't see the whole distance.
Yeah, true.
And maybe something will run across the road, so you deal with it then.
Yes, yeah.
You still know you're going to get home.
I like that analogy. Yeah,
makes it nice and simple.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, when a lot of people ask me that question, they almost expect that I've got this mapped out plan and month by month.
Yeah,
I know what's going to happen.
Yeah. You just don't.
And it's almost a surprise when I say I don't really know. Like I've got a rough idea, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
I just prefer to be honest about things like that.
Yeah.
And I used to probably try and bamboozle my way through the answer, but I've got a rough idea, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main thing is your outcome focused.
Yeah.
And you can see the big things. The big things you can see quite often, or you expect them to happen, and sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. But worry about it when it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
You familiar with Ant Middleton?
Very roughly. I haven't read any of his books, but
I've read just about all of them.
Really? Yeah.
I have read all of his sort of I don't want to say self-help, but inspirational books.
Self-help's an interesting 2 words, isn't it?
I know. I don't really like it. But I just enjoy the stories of different situations and experiences he's been in. But one of the biggest things I've taken away from all of his books that I've read is there's nothing to worry about until it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it twice kind of theory. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a favourite book he's read it?
Oh, mate,
Authored?
I love them all.
They're all good?
Last Man Out was pretty good. But I've got a really close friend of mine who's been in the same world that he has, in the Special Forces, and I just love the time I get to spend with him. And we're really close, our kids, and we're really close, and I just enjoy having the opportunity to ask him specific questions about different situations. But I remember some years ago I was going into a specific situation that I was actually a little bit nervous about. And he said to me, "Brother, just focus on the outcome." Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, just focus on the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't overthink it.
Nah.
Yeah. You got a favourite book of all time or a top 3 or
I've
couple?
read loads. New Zealand and Māori history are my favourites. So can I think of any of those off the top of my head? There's been so many. I love the Treaty of Waitangi stuff. Claudia Orange is a great author for those types of things. I reckon probably my favourite book of all time that I struggled to put down, the one where you're walking around bumping into things, would be Mark Hunt's book, Born to Fight. Yeah, extremely good. From a Kiwi Samoan that has fought the best of the best in the world in kickboxing and then mixed martial arts and the UFC and all the rest of it, and boxing.
Yeah.
What an amazing story.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mark Hunt, Born to Fight, awesome book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kiwi guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willie Apiata, another beautiful book, another SAS soldier.
Yeah.
Another beautiful book. And if you haven't seen the documentary about Willie Apiata when he was handed his Victorian Cross way back in, I think it was something like 2006, you can go on YouTube and still find, those programs. And every year with Boot Camps Australia, my Boot Camps business in Aussie, we would sit down as a family, as a team, and watch that.
Right.
Because it kept us humble.
Yeah, right. Nice.
You can be out there training 100 people at one camp and get carried away with yourself. Look how many people are showing up, and you're making a fair bit of money. But at the end of the day, you're just a boot camp trainer Whereas these guys are actually going off, putting their lives on the line so we can be boot camp trainers. Yeah, so it was a perspective thing for me and my team. And you have a lot of testosterone in the room, young 21-year-olds, coming up and they want to take on the world. It's just about keeping everything in check and making sure that they realise from that age there should be a purpose as to why they're doing it. You're a boot camp trainer now, but there's always a purpose. I think that's a big thing with everything. People have to find their purpose. I sent an email 48 hours ago. How did you find out what your purpose was? And I think it's important because a lot of the time you can be trapped in what are you doing every day? And people can think, I only stack shelves at the supermarket. It's a really cruel word to talk to yourself about, I only stack shelves.
Or I'm just.
Just. Two powerful words depending on how you use them. But if you can go, I'm stacking these shelves now because as soon as I'm doing this, then it's there. And there's this purpose, there's this outcome at the end of it.
I'm going to be the best at this.
Mate, it's not just a job now.
Yeah.
It's your step to the next level.
Totally.
And so when people would buy a franchise from me, whether it be Snap or whatever, I would always openly say to them, this isn't your end game. This is your step to the next level. So make it successful so that step can come around a lot quicker.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's all about framing, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
Yeah, so purpose is a massive thing.
Yeah.
And I think purpose should be taught at school. And I got asked, I was presenting at a school a few years ago, and one of the teachers, there was some rangatahi or youth in there, and she said, should they know their purpose, sort of 14, 15 years old? And I said, not necessarily, no. But what they should know is how to construct it. And so when they're put in situations of peer pressure and things like that, look, we're all going over there for a smoke. We're going to go and steal that. Well, what's the purpose of that? Is that going to serve me or not? And so it enables them to stand stronger. And so eventually when they get into things like business or a sport, okay, what am I doing this for? Am I doing it for others? Am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for the betterment of mankind? Whatever. Yeah, those things are important.
Yeah, it's what I mentioned before when you wake up in the morning and, if some people perceive the weather to influence the day or to...
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. They open the curtains. This is the analogy I always give to classes. Open the curtain. Oh, it's raining. Shit. Bloody raining again. Turn around, kick their toe on the side of the bed. Walk into the bathroom. No toothpaste left. It just goes on and on and on.
This is a really broad question, but do you think that society as a whole is generally happy and generally like doing something that they're pumped about? If you had to take, say, a sample of 1,000 people in New Zealand,
no, definitely not.
No, unfortunately not.
No. And that a lot of that comes back to purpose as well. And so, alongside purpose, with what I think should be taught at schools, is the ability to think optimistically. And that is basically resilience. Yep, that is what resilience is. No matter what pressure you're under, okay, I'm nearly there.
Yeah.
The next corner.
Yeah.
It's the next corner and I'm there. And people chuck the towel in too early and it was that next corner and they were there. Yeah. So then they stay and they can be stuck in a victim mindset because it never works out for me.
Yeah.
I never win.
Yeah. I guess change can come and does come from just one at a time, right? One positive influence and conversation and catalyst moment at a time. I don't know enough about how you would do it at a larger scale, but I'd like to think that there's a small difference being made even by doing podcasts like this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Even
100%.
Even at this early stage in the game, like I still hear like really positive stories every now and again about people, leaving a job they hate or doing something different or starting a business. It's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I think getting to it on a larger scale is, what percentage of kids are in the education system. So whilst they're there, teach them what is going to be beneficial. Teach them about the weather. Teach them about the environment. Teach them about how to grow and process their own food. Teach them how to make money rather than save money.
Yeah. Different things, right?
Yeah. I think that is what should be in, the curriculum.
Yeah.
Resilience, optimistic thinking, and you're always more optimistic when you're in a state of wellness. Well, what is a state of wellness? Well, a state of wellness is you're doing things on a daily basis to make sure that you're physically strong. As we know, when you're physically strong and you're putting yourself through those experiences, it creates mental resilience. teach them how to sleep properly and the benefits of sleep. We have a saying in our household. Tessa wants me to make up T-shirts, and I probably will for these elite kids. Nothing positive happens after midnight. Go to bed, go home.
That is so good.
You do not need to be out on the streets, after midnight. Be somewhere safe with good people in a good environment by that time of night.
Great call. Yeah.
I'm thinking of a way I can put it into sort of an acronym that's really short. When people see it, they go, that's what that means. Nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah.
Get home.
It's so good. Yeah. Do you reckon there's two different types of people, morning people and evening people?
I think they label themselves with that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time it's an energy thing, and a lot of the time it's because I'm an evening person. I don't get up early in the mornings. One, because you've probably never tried. There may not be enough purpose for you to get up in the morning. There may not be enough drive, or what drives drive. What purpose does, being outcome focused, and having someone instill good habits in you whilst you're young. So my first gym I spoke about earlier, that was born on a napkin on a flight to Australia.
Oh, I love it.
I was sick to death of having 30 to 40-year-olds come to my gyms, and after a month or 3 months leaving. So I thought, how do I get these people to stay longer? And it's not them, it's their kids.
Get the kids
I
involved.
need their kids, yeah. And so that was, as I said, we got up to about 14 or 15 of those in Australia, and we sold them during COVID. Yeah.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
And are they still around?
Still going?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they're performing or anything, but they're still going. I think they're growing slowly, but that was all around inspiring movements in kids. We even had an app made up. What was the name of the app? I can't remember what it was called now, but it was My Movement Buddy. That's what it was called.
Cool.
And basically, app on the phone, the kids wore a wearable rubber band around their wrist, which enabled the parents to see how much they'd move during the day.
Right.
So if, say for example, on Friday they wanted to watch a movie, they had to get up to X amount of steps. And,
Right.
Went into different categories. Or they could break it down day by day and go, brother, you still owe me 200 steps, off you go.
Yeah, you got a wee way to go yet.
Yeah, but then what we needed to do on top of that was go, parents, you need to do it with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I like it. Very good. Thank you, Korey.
No worries.
Any
Lovely to be here.
final parting wisdoms, quotes?
Final parting wisdoms
jokes?
Would be, I don't want to sound like David Goggins at all, because, hey, who's as hard as David Goggins? But yeah, you've built up your resilience. Don't get taken away by what you see on television and what you hear on the radio. Left wing, right wing, both wings belong to the same bird. In the middle is a brain, and there's common sense, we'd hope. So, I would encourage families to sort of try and look at their families as if they were some sort of an entity, a business. Have family values. Take time in designing your family crest from all of your different ancestry. And take ownership of those things, and bring up optimistic, resilient kids who understand what true wealth is: cultural wealth, natural wealth, outlook wealth, which is optimism and things like that, wellness, family wealth, all those different things, and time wealth, and let's bring up kids with the values of which we want this world to look like eventually. That would be my final thing.
I love that.
Mauri ora kia koe.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Appreciate it.
See you again.
See you again.